Thank you once again. You're most welcome to the live promotion aptitude test tool. And if you can hear from me, let me get you from the comment section, and you're most welcome. Good evening to everyone. Wherever you are watching me from, you're most welcome. And thank you for joining once again. 3 people are online with me. Let me see you in the comment section. Indicate yes if you can hear from me in the comment section. Margaret, you're most welcome. Let me show Margaret in the comments. Let me show Margaret. You're most welcome. So tonight will be another mind-blowing session to have with you this evening, and it's very important once again to have you with me tonight. Let me see your fingers up in the comment section if you can hear from me. Right? Yes, we'll show fingers up. And today we're going to cover a lot of areas that other facilitators are not talking about. I'm ready to put my nose into those areas, reveal you some things that you need to know before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. And most grateful for you joining. Is that only Margaret that can hear from me? Okay, let's dive into today's tutorial, and it will be another mind blow, as I said. Now let's look at today we are looking at contemporary issues in education, policies, reforms, programs, and interventions, and we descend down to other areas for the promotion aptitude tests, especially. So we're going to look at policy, we're going to look at reforms, then we'll add more things to what we need to know. So let's go straight into what we need to learn. So policy, what is policy? And what is reforms? Policies and reforms. There are policies in every organization. There are policies that guide the organization for its achievement of its goals. So when we are saying policies, they are set of principles, set of ideas, or plans of what to do in a particular situation that has been agreed upon by a group of people, business entity, or the government to solve a problem. So a set of ideas or plans or what to do in a particular school, in a particular business entity, and government to solve a particular problem is known as a policy. So what is educational policy? So when we're talking about educational policies, they are principles, rules, regulations, procedures to solve educational problems, or a plan to promote a desired educational objectives. It's known as educational plan. Then when we are talking about reforms, educational reforms, what are reforms? So reforms are public policies that bring about major changes and guide the decision and action of the government on education. So any public policy that brings changes about or changes in education, and the decision that guides education is known as educational reforms. It brings changes. Some are ad hoc, that is, and some are also radical. Now let's look at type of educational reforms. As I said, we have a radical educational reforms, and this type of educational reforms brings about a complete change from the past. Like we talk of the free senior high school. It's a policy, a radical educational reforms or change that has brought about a total change of the free senior high school or the senior high school because of it's a reform. So we have a radical educational reforms, or we can also take the junior high system that replaced the middle school level in 1987. That is a complete radical educational reforms. They also have a moderate. A moderate does not break away from or does not break completely from the past, but aspect of education is being reformed. They also have ad hoc type of educational reforms. Brings a policy to solve a problem and withdraws it after solving the problem. So we can use double track as an example, double track system as an ad hoc policy or intervention that is used to solve a problem and later on withdraws from it. So we are planning of taking the double track system away. Now, how does educational policies being formulated and implemented? We are going to look at it. So before any policy is formulated, there are factors that need to be considered before any educational policies is formulated or implemented. One of the factors that need to be considered is one, the needs of the society. If there is a high demand of the citizens calling for a policy to be implemented, or there's the need of the society to change, like the free senior high school, you need to change from the paying system of education to a free senior high school, then there is a need for it. So the needs of the society is very important in policy formulation. What the society needs, what the citizens need, what the citizens are demanding for. Then the needs of the individuals. The need of the individuals is also considered. Then we also have the resources for the implementation. These are factors that need to be considered before policy is being formulated and implemented. So the needs of the society, the needs of the individuals, talking about the learners here in this context, the needs of the learners. Now, the resources available for the implementation is also very key. Then strategies to be adapted for the implementation is also one of the key factors when um, formulating educational policies. Then the support of the public, and the public supporting whatever policies that are being implemented or being formulated. So if the public are in support, then the impacts, positive and negative, that the policy brings. These are the factors that need to be considered before formulation of a policy and its implementation. Now let's look at stages of um, policy formulation stages. The first thing, or the first stage of policy formulation, is that a problem needs to be identified. There should be identification of a problem to be solved. And if the problem is identified, that's the first thing that you need to consider when formulating a policy. Is there a challenge in a particular educational setting that need policy intervention? Then the first thing that you need to look at is to identify a problem in the educational system and solve it. So we can take double track as one of the example of the interventions or policies. So there was a large number of students being enrolled in a free senior high school. So there should be an intervention to cater for that. And that is the problem that needs to be identified. Then identification of the problem at the grassroots level. Then the next stage is agenda setting, or setting the objectives. So before any policy comes into existence, identify a problem the policy will solve, then setting the objectives, that is the agenda setting the agenda or the objectives. Then developing a policy proposal. Policy proposal need to be developed. Policy guideline need to be developed. Policy document need to be developed. Then when it is developed, what is next? The next stage is lobbying for political support. The bill needs to go to Parliament. The bill needs to be staged in Parliament for discussion, for deliberation on the bill or on the policy. So the opposition may canvass against the policy. Then you, being the government that's seeing the need of it, need to lobby. So lobbying for a political support, you need to get the support from the political divides to help the policy to function. Now the next stage is legislation process, and that is where the bill is sent to Parliament, discussions, the pro and the cons of the policy, the positive aspect or the negative aspect has been discussed. Then it is passed into an act. When it is sent to the Parliament, it's sent as a bill. But when Parliament approves it and the President signs, it becomes a regulation that binds everybody. Then resources allocation is also needed, or sorry, you need to provide an agency for the implementation. So you need to, so if it is about pre-tertiary education policy, so you need to be sent to Parliament for Parliament to deliberate on it, support for needs political device to support the bill, then an agency implementation. So if it is a free senior high school or pre-tertiary education, then it definitely needs to be under the Ministry of the Ghana Education Service for its implementation. Then Allocation of resources for monitoring and supervision is also very important. Another stage. So policy is being given resource back, and that is the allocation of resources for monitoring and supervision. And this one is done by the ministry, the Ministry of Education, that allocates resources to the agencies that need to implement the policy. Then supervision is taken. Then evaluation of the policy to see if effectiveness or its failures. So evaluating policy performance to assess its impact on the people, and finding out whether it is working or it is not working. So it's very important we know this. Now, we have to look at these issues before we go and write our promotion aptitude test. Component of educational system. Components of educational system. One of the components of our educational system is the people. One, that is the people. Component of educational system. One, the people. And the people here, we are talking about the pupils, the teachers, and other stakeholders that come together to help education move forward. So one of the component of education is the people. Then two, the content. The content here, we are talking about the curriculum, what is being delivered to the learners, not the content. Then the structure. The structure here is talking about the years in which learners pass through. So we have the KG level, we have the primary, we have the junior high level, then the free senior high school level. So the structure told the tertiary. So the structure of our education system is also one of the components of the education system. Then the physical structure, the physical structure. We have the structure and we have the physical structure. The physical structure here is talking about the classroom, the libraries, the rest that help education to move forward. You're most welcome. People are coming and leaving. I've decided to start it in this way. And by the time they come back, they would have missed something. Now let's look at the 4 P's that affect education in the comment section. Write one of the 4 P's that affect education. We have 4 P's. P. We have 4 P's that affect education. One of them is the politics of the country. The politics affects the education outcome in Ghana. The politics. So one of the 4 P's that affect our educational outcome is the politics. So the politics is one of the P's that affect education. The politics that we play in this country may affect education positively or negatively. So the politics of the education. Then 2, the educational policies of the country. Policies are also brought to help the education to get a good outcome. Others will come and there wouldn't be any good outcome of it. So we have, as we have dealt with the politics, we also have the educational policies. The third one, or the third P, is educational programs or educational content. The programs that are brought on board to help education or that has an effect on the education is the programs. And the last one is the processes. So the 4 P's of education are the politics of the country, the educational programs, the educational policies, and educational processes. These are the 4 P's P's that affect education: the politics, the policies, the programs, and the processes. 4 P's. Have it in mind before you go and write the promotion aptitude test. Now, let's look at free compulsory universal basic education. This question always come the in the objective. Whether you like it or not, you meet it, especially AD2 to DD. How many objectives does the FCUBE outline in 1995? There are 3 main objectives, and these objectives and key aspect brought about the establishment of the four frontline deputy directors in the district and municipal education directorate. 1, increasing access and participation. That is one of the objectives of the FCUBE, or the free compulsory universal basic education. Increase access and participation in education by the learners. Then improving quality of teaching and learning. Improving quality of teaching and learning. Have them. You can write them, you can jot them down. Then the last one that brought about the 4 frontline deputy directors is improving management efficiency. These are the 3 key objectives of the free compulsory universal basic education. So have it in mind before you go and write the promotion aptitude test. If you have any question, you can ask me in the comment section. You can ask me in the comment section. Now, the accelerated development plan for education was introduced in which year? Which year was it introduced? And then you are most welcome. And then I'll lead you. You are most welcome. And then where are you reaching me from? All the time you come, but I've not asked where you are reaching me from. And then send me hi in the in my WhatsApp and tell me where you're coming from. I'll meet you and talk to you one day. So the accelerated development plan for education was introduced in 1951, just after the 1951 election. And Nkrumah came out with this educational plan. It's a 10-year educational plan. Now, which year was the junior high school concept or reforms came into pass? That is 1987. 1987. Have it in mind. Have it in mind before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. It's very important that you know this. Then which year was the double track system introduced? Double track system. Free senior high school. Yeah. These are questions that you need to have it at your fingertips when you wake up and they ask you these questions, you are able to. Then don't forget the vision of GS, or the vision statement of GS, the mandate, the mission, and the rest. Have it in mind. The function of the Ministry of Education, formulation of educational policies, allocation of resources for policy implementation by the the agencies under them or under it, oversight responsibility of the agency under it, then monitor and evaluate the policies. So don't forget to have this before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. They are very important. Please, when I mention it. Now let's look at these laws, educational laws that affect the Ministry of Education directly or the GS directly. There are four laws that affect the Ministry of Education and Ghana Education Service directly. Please kindly go over the second point of the FCUBE. Is it the objective? Are you talking about the objective? Okay. Now let me go over. Let me go over it. So the free compulsory basic universal basic education, it has three key objectives. One is increasing access and participation. You need to increase learners enrollment and the rest. So it was part. The second one is improving the quality of teaching and learning. That's the second one. The third one is improving management efficiency. These are the three objectives of that you may meet them in the promotion aptitude test. You still meet them, whether you like it or not, you meet them. So there are areas that you need to be very careful. And I was telling you, be very careful with the mission statement, because last year I didn't see it appearing. So the mandate, the mission statement, the function of Ministry of Education, I've dealt with it. Formulation of educational policies, allocation of resources, oversight responsibilities, monitoring and evaluation. Then function of GES, you have to take note of them. Whatever I'm mentioning, take good note of them before you go and write your promotion exams. If you can contact me one-on-one. Now, if you look at the laws that affect the Ministry of Education in GS, there is a fundamental law that all these four laws are based on. And the fundamental law is the 1992 Constitution. Everything is hovering around the 1992 Constitution. So there is no law that affects any policy in Ghana that does not correlate or agrees with the 1992 Constitution, because that is the ultimate power, the ultimate law in Ghana. So the mother of all laws in Ghana is the 1992 Constitution. Now let's look at laws that directly affect the Ministry of Education or applicable to the Ministry of Education. I said there are four. Write one in the comment section. The four laws that affect the Ministry of Education or applicable to the Ministry of Education. One is the GS Act 1995. that is Act 506, that is number 1. Number 2 is Education Act 2008, Act 778. Then Pre-Tertiary Education Act, the year 2020, Act 1049. And the last one, or the fourth one, is the Education Regulatory Body Acts 1023. These are 4 laws that directly affect the Ministry of Education and GS. There are other laws that also indirectly affect the Ministry of Education. We have the Procurement Act, the year 2003, Acts 654, Act 663, Act 663. They also have Financial Administration Act. We have Financial Administration Regulation 2004, that is the LI 1802. We also have Audit Service Act, Labor Act, National Pension Act that changes the whole pension in the year 2008. That is Act 6. So Act 766, Act 766, Pension Act, Fair Wages and Salary Commission Act 2007, Act 737. Then we also have Workman Compensation Act 1987. That is PNDC Law 187. These are laws that directly affect the Ministry of Education and GS. So have it in mind. Now, we can also look at these major landmark educational developments since the colonial era. So if someone asks you, when did the formal education start in Ghana? Formal education start in Ghana. The year is started 1529. 1529. This question came in either the principal or AD2 in the year 2020. Then in 1951, that's where government started paying teachers. Government started paying teachers, and Nkrumah's government started paying teachers. That was where the the Accelerated Development Plan on Education was introduced. So that was the time that the government began paying teachers. In 1961, that was where the fee-free basic education was also introduced. 1961, fee-free basic education. There was no fee to be charged on basic education. That is 1961. 1961. 63 brought about the free textbook policy. Textbooks should be shared to basic schools, basic school learners for free. 1963. 63, free textbook. 61 is fee-free basic education. 51 to is when the government started paying teachers. And that was the time the Accelerated Development Plan was introduced. Teachers were paid on that year. Then 1964 brought about the continuation school program. So you need to know this. Then junior high school was experimented on 1976. 1976. That was the first time it was introduced to see whether it will be very effective. 1976. So you can write them down. They are very important. So the introduction of the 3-year post-secondary teacher education was also introduced in 19 1976. That's where the 3-year post-secondary teacher education also started. 1995 brought about 1995 brought about the FCUBE introduction. Junior high school was fully to replace the middle school level education. So 1987 brought about the full implementation of the junior high school level. Now, the year 2003 brought about the introduction of the capitation grant right. So have it in mind. And it fully covered in 1995. Then 2005 brought about the computerized school placement system. That is where it was introduced. Then teacher training colleges becoming full colleges of education, the year 2008. 2013 brought about the start of the free senior high school, 2013. And that one, it was introduced based on the constitution that the progressively free senior high school education, as the constitution talk about. If you read Article 38, right, either 38 or Article 25 of the 1992 Constitution, but it will be Article 38. So progressively free senior high school started in the year 2013, before Akufo-Addo government came in 2017-2018 academic year, where it was fully free. So have it in mind. So 2017-2018 academic year brought about the full introduction of the free senior high school, but the progressively free senior high school was introduced in the year 2013. Have it in mind before you go and write the promotion aptitude test. Now let's look at the GS, governance structure in GS. You will not meet it anywhere unless I tell you. No facilitator will come and teach you this. Now, the governance structure in GS. So at the national headquarters or the national level, it is governed by the GS Council. The GS Council. Then at the regional level, it is governed by the Regional Education Coordinating Council. Regional Education Coordinating Council. Then at the district level, it is being headed by DIOC or MIOC, the District Education Oversight Committee, or Municipal Education Oversight Committee, or the Metropolitan Education Oversight Committee. The basic school level, it is headed by the SMC, School Management Committee, right? At the senior high level, it is governed by the Board of Governors. So have it in mind before you go and write. Say today we are touching on a lot of areas that you need to know, that no facilitator will take you through this, but I have time for you. I want to touch every angle before you go and write your promotion aptitude test. Now, the first castle school was established at which place in Ghana? was established. This question also came in the year 2020, either principal or AD2. Was established in Elmina Castle. The first castle school that was established at the Elmina Castle. So have it in mind before you go and write your promotion. And it was introduced in 1529, the year 1529. Have it in mind. The first European country that established the first castle school in Ghana was the Portuguese. And this was to take care of the mulattoes, that is the children that the white had with the blacks women. And that was the time that first education started in Ghana. Now, what is the act that established GS? The act that established GS in 1975 was Act 506. As 506. So have it in mind before you go in. Now, what law established the Ministry of Education? The law that established the Ministry of Education is Civil Service Law 327. Put it at the back of your mind. The law that established the Ministry of Education. I'm not saying GS. I'm saying the Ministry of Education. The law that established the Ministry of Education is Civil Service Law 327. 327. Civil Service Law 327. And PNDC Law 1993. Civil Service Law 327 and PNDC Law 1993. Have it in mind. The highest authority in the organogram of Ghana Education, Ghana Education Service at the headquarters is the GS Council. The highest authority in the organogram of GS. So have it in mind. Whatever I mentioned, be very careful. Who should act as a secretary to the governing body at the district education level? Who should act as the secretary? So that is, we are talking about the governing body at the district level or at the municipal level is the MIOC or the DIO. So it is the district director or the municipal director that acts as a secretary. So have it in mind. Have it in mind before you go and write the promotion aptitude test. Now, what are the four components of every educational system? We have dealt with it. I said the people, the physical infrastructure, and the structure of education. The four components of every educational system are the content of education, the people, the physical structure, and the structure of education. Four. No. That is it. If you go and meet it and you struggle, it's your own cup of tea. Which agency replaced the teacher division of GS in the year 2008? The teacher division, that is the NTC, National Teaching Council. Now, which educational program was launched in 1995-1996 academic year? That is the FCUBE. The FCUBE was launched in 1995. Now, let's come to management. In education, a process by which resources, policies, and rules are used to achieve educational targets are called what? It's called management. So in education, a process by which resources, policies, rules are used to achieve a set target is called management. Then the use of systems, the use of procedures, the use of control measures, the use of control measures. Sorry, my mic fell down. The use of systems, procedures, and control measures to achieve educational goals is also refers to as what? It refers to as administration. So in administration, there is a system in place, there is a procedures, there is a control measures to achieve educational. That's where you control the people. So have it in mind before you go and write promotion aptitude test. I hope it is going down well. 46 minutes spent. Let's still continue. Now, in Education Act 2008, Act 778 introduced 3 autonomous bodies, which of them replace the Curriculum Research Development Division, that is NACA. NACA replaced the CRDD, Curriculum Research Development Division. It's NACA that replaced that division. So NACA now deals with all the objectives, the aims of the curriculum. So have it in mind. Now let's say today we are reaching all corners. We are reaching all corners to help you pass promotion aptitude test. Now in GS, the regional director of education is vested with the powers to give orders to those under him. The regional director is therefore in the position of what? Is in the position of authority. The position of authority. Which body is responsible for the governance of the GS? Responsible for the governance of GS, that the GS Council. The GS Council is responsible for the governance of Ghana Education Service. So have it in mind before you say, Jack, we are going to write the promotion aptitude test. Now let's look at these issues. A plan to solve educational problem can be referred as what? A plan to solve educational problems can be referred as what? Put the answer in the comment section. Today you have not interacted much. So put the answer in the comment section. A plan to solve educational problem can be referred to as what? In the comment section. Let me get from you. Now, education system that ensures equal access to education is referred to as what? Inclusive education. It refers to inclusive education. Education system that ensures equal access to education is refers to as inclusive education. No one is bringing my answer. I'm waiting. And then, are you there? Let me hear from you. I said a plan to solve educational problem can be referred to as what? Let me get you from the comment section. Now, the benefit an individual and the society derives from education may be termed as what? It may be termed as externalities of education. Externality of education is the benefit the individual gets from the education and the benefit that the society gets from the person that has been trained. So the benefit that an individual or society derives from education can be termed as externality of education. So no one is able to get the answer. And Danny, where are you? So a plan to solve educational problem can be referred to as educational policy. Educational policy. That is the answer. So a plan to solve educational policy, sorry, educational problem. Educational problem is known as educational policy. So a policy that is put in place to solve educational problem. Now let's come here. A teacher who breaks service and may re-enter the service by applying for is known as re-engagement. We have talked about this several times. I don't know why it keeps on. Now, the double track system of education can be described as what? It can be described as what type of policy? Is it an intervention, or is it an ad hoc educational reform? So a double track system of education can be described as policy intervention. Policy intervention. So have it before you go and write the promotion exams. Now, one of the indicators, the number of students who gain employment or become self-employed at the end of this schooling is called what? It is called a market outcome. So if you train a lot of students and they come out, and most of them get employed or self-employed at the end of the schooling, it is termed as a market outcome or the results outcome. Now, achievement in terms of knowledge, skills, values acquired at the end of the schooling is known as what? So at the end of the learner going through learning and graduate and come out with the knowledge, with the skills and the values at the end of the schooling is known as what? It's known as educational outcome. Educational outcome. Have it in mind. So educational outcome is where learners achieve in terms of the knowledge that they have, the skills and the values that they have at the end of their schooling. Now let's look at this one. The transfer of a teacher within the district is called what? It's called intra-district, not intra. So the teacher within a district or within a municipal move from school A to school B or from school B to school C. That teacher, that type of transfer is called intra-district transfer. But inter-district transfer is where a teacher moves from district A to another district within the same region. Within the same region. Sorry. Now, education system that ensures education for all is known as what? It's known as universal education system. Universal education system. Education that education system that ensures that education is for all is known as universal education. Okay. Now, one of the main aim of the introduction of the capitation grant in basic school is to drive enrollment. Drive, that's one of the key aim of the introduction of the capitation grant, to encourage or to drive enrollment. Now, I'm getting tired. Okay. Now, the licensing of teachers is the responsibility of which agency? These questions, they are very cheap, that you can get them. The NTC. Now, the textbooks, the head teacher's handbook, and the syllabus are referred to as what material? Curriculum materials. Now, which temporary skills for a teacher is connected to a self-control and love for the children? That is the emotional. The emotional. It says skills. If you don't have the skills, if you don't have the emotional skills, you don't have the control for the learners and the love for them and the affection for learners. You don't have it. So you need to develop these emotional skills that will help learners. Group work and peer teaching can be referred to as which method of teaching? Child-centered method of teaching. So we're about 3 minutes of ending this tutorial, and let me show something on the screen. So if you want to support us in this promotion aptitude test, you can, or if you have any advert that you want to write, you want to advert on this platform, you can contact me on the number on the screen. Any adverts that you want to run on this platform, you can contact me for us to chat, or any support that you have, you can send it to this line. It's very important. You will send your support to this line, 024168938. I'll be most grateful. So you can send your support or any adverts that you want to write, you want to do it on this platform, you're most welcome. If you contact me, your adverts will be placed on most of our videos, and it is very important that you know that. So you can advertise, or you can help out with your support on this contacts. Thank you so much. So it's very important. You can, someone is asking the comment section that place it again. Okay, this is our advertisement flyer that we have put out. If you want to advertise your products on this channel, anything that you're selling, if you contact me, we will place an advert on this for you people. Thank you. So now, which theory states that the mind of a new baby is blank? Which theory states that the mind of a newborn baby is blank? That is the tabula rasa. Tabula rasa. So have it in mind before you go and write. Now, the process of acquiring knowledge, skills, and value through the stages is known as what? Is known as learning. So, learning goes through stages. So, the process of acquiring knowledge, skills, and values through some stages is called learning. Questions can come from all angles. So, when I'm tackling, I tackle at all angles of areas so that you can get a gist, you can get something to write down. When you meet them, you are able to go. Now, the application of knowledge acquired through learning may be referred to as what? The application of knowledge. So you have learned, or you have learned, and you have acquired the knowledge. So when you apply the knowledge through the learning is known as skills. So you have the knowledge, but if you are not able to put the knowledge into practice, then you lack the skills. Who propounded the stimulus response reward theory? Who propounded the stimulus response reward theory? That is BF Skinner. Sorry, BF Skinner. So have it in mind. Somebody, hey, Seth, where have you been? It's a long time. Seth, where have you been? Seth Afum, it's a long time I've heard from you. You're most welcome. So the one who proposed the stimulus response theory or reward theory is B.F. Skinner. You may, especially those who are going to write PS and AD2. AD2. These are areas. Don't forget to read the theory of learning, the theories of learning. Don't forget to learn something about them before you go and write the promotion exams. Now, an outline of the day-to-day schedule of activities of a classroom is referred to as what? Is referred to as the timetable. Now, who advocated that every child was born with a language acquisition device? You see, that's why I was saying the learning theories, you cannot do away with them. You cannot do away with them. So the one who advocated that every child was born with a language acquisition device in the person's mind. So there is a device, there is a machine that every child was born with. That is Nowakowski. So have it in mind before you go and write. The assessment of a learner continuously over a period of time is referred to as what? Refers to as a formative assessment. So you're teaching learners and you assess them all the time, continuously. It is known as formative assessment. So don't forget to note this down before you go and write the promotion aptitude test. Very important. So we have spent about an hour and 4 minutes. Any challenge that you have, you can throw it. Someone was asking the difference between school culture and school climate. They are totally different. They are totally different. But the school climate is under the school culture. So the school culture are the beliefs, the norms, that guide the school, the beliefs, the norms, and the values that guide the school, that are the school culture. Then when we are talking about the school climate is the social, the physical infrastructure, the emotional aspect, the feeling of the student, the feeling of the teachers, and how they behave. That is the school climate. So if you get to a school climate where there is timidity, there is victimization in that school, it means that that school climate is a controlled school climate, or that school climate is not, it's a rigid school climate. So the school climate is different. The school climate is the feelings and the relationship that the students, the teachers have, and the head have in their school. So we are talking about the physical infrastructure, we talk about the social aspect, and you talk about the emotional aspect. That is the school climate. But the school culture is talking about the belief, the norms, the values that encompasses that school. So the school environment or the school climate is different from the school culture. The school climate is inside the school culture, right? Okay. We'll end it here and we shall meet another time, either tomorrow or Tuesday. We'll come back once again and share something very important to our promotion aptitude test. If you have any challenge, you can always drop it you can DM me on my WhatsApp line and we shall come and meet again. You're most welcome and have a good night. Don't forget to support this tutorial. It's very important. Support it. The line, let me um, let me let me come here. So you can support the tutorial to or any advert that you have, you can contact me, then we chat. But don't forget to support. The support line is there 02416893882. We shall meet another time. Have a good night and a nice week. Let me share this information before we go. No dirty water has ever stopped the tree growing, or a dirty water does not stop the tree growing. What does it imply? The negative that you are going through or the failure that you once had does not stop you from passing this year exams, or the previous failures that you had cannot prevent you from passing this year exams, or the negative things people speak about you does not stop you from progressing in life. So we have others who talk negative about us, but we are still moving forward. We are still providing whatever you need. So that is what it implies. The dirty water does not stop a plant growing. Have a good night with this quote. Bye bye.